Our generation isn't turning away from the world's problems. Watch us fly ahead, rise to every challenge, and overcome anything. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Well, good morrow, weary traveller. Please, why don't you take a seat and join us for the Rally Cry Collegiate Series, week number 4 of bracket play. It is quite a time to be alive, as our top 16 is already locked in, but not necessarily the order of such. More on that later. I'm Relic. I'm joined, as always, by the wonderful Galgan. First of all, how are you this evening, good sir? And second of all, we're finally here. This is the bracket before the final bracket. Exciting times.
It does feel like a long time coming. The dawn before the final day has
Indeed.
arrived, and it's time to find out the pecking order, as we've been alluding to all series long here. 4 weekends of closed qualifier play have led to this moment where at the end of it, we've got 16 teams, all with different point totals, all totaling up to their spot in that all-important playoff bracket, where they will finally fight for the lump sum of the prize pool on offer here in the Rally Cry Collegiate Series. Again, there's so much on offer between all of the titles, but we know that the players here are fighting for the lion's share of $6,000. That's what they're here for. That's what they came for. And they sure as heck want to leave with it.
Shout out to all of our cousins in camaraderie in terms of the CS2, Madden, FGC broadcasts. We see ya. We love ya. But we do love Rocket League a little bit more, hence why we're here. But so do these teams, of course. We have seen some fantastic Rocket League. We've seen some chaotic Rocket League. We've seen some tense Rocket League. And we sure have seen some Rocket League. And it's all led us to this moment in time, Galgan, where we're going into week number 4, we're asking, okay, who's going to get into that top 16? And we were slightly worried. We were thinking, well, you know, a lot of these teams, they've accrued a lot of points. They know they're locked into the top 16 already. Are they going to turn up to contest their seeding? Or in the case of UT Dallas, who are currently in the spotlight, hold on to that number 1 spot? And we have great news on that front. UT Dallas are here. Second placed Drexel Dragons are also here. Drexel Dragons, of course, coming off the back of victory in week number 3. Southern Miss Coca-Cola is back, as are the majority of what were the top 16 going into this week. But 2 of that top 16, Galgan, have not turned up, and it has cost them a place in the playoffs.
It's well and truly unfortunate, but you mentioned those 2 teams that are sitting with their thrones well ready to be abdicated. That, of course, refers to Michigan State, White, and Northeastern, who are too low on the table to defend their spot from the 2 schools that are not there yet, but will be shortly by virtue of the points they gain this weekend, whether or not they continue a winning streak. Those 2 schools looking to make their way onto the table, Thomas College, who find themselves in an early matchup against those Pescados from Fisher College. Meanwhile, Southern Miss Gold is trying to follow in their proverbial big brother's footsteps, Southern Miss Coca-Cola, by stringing together some success of their own. They'll have to do it opening up this bracket against Terps Esports, who have had some success in prior iterations on this stream. Another opening round matchup is the University of New Haven, those Chargers taking on Bowling Green State. But Relic, our eyes are fixated amongst the top of the bracket, the closest seeding battle we have on offer today. 8 versus 9. Does it get any better than this? You'll have to wait and see. UC Berkeley coming back at it again against Ohio State Gray, who may not have played as many qualifiers as they wanted to, but they're trying to make the limited quantity count here with professional quality.
Boy, howdy, they have practically both found the same seat on the same bus. 5 points separating the 2, Galgan, and it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. And quite frankly, this is huge for both of these squads. Close enough to the top 8 to think that they could get a beneficial seeding going into the playoffs. But that's just it. They're both close enough, and only one of them can get those extra, bag of points that they can sort of huddle together. How far they will go is another question entirely. And to be quite frank, again, 7th and 8th place doesn't really make much difference, really, if you're 7th, 8th, or maybe 10th, 11th, 12th or so, but every point counts, every position counts. You want to obviously be giving yourself the best starting opportunity in those playoff brackets to bring off the magical word, everyone, momentum. It's important. You want to get to those later stages as soon as possible. And yeah, it's as even an opening contest on this Saturday eve, or indeed afternoon, depending on where you are, as we could have hoped for. And I'm really, really hopeful that we will see another Game 6, Game 7 scenario. They have been popping up a lot more frequently as the Rally Cry Collegiate series has been ongoing. And here we are then, UC Berkeley and OSU Grey Galgan. Who are you favoring on this one?
Oh, that's a tough call to make. I have to point out that I like your idea that this could go Game 6, Game 7. I think you have to expect it, especially when you look back to last week. Both of these teams had to play in the opening round of an 11-team bracket, so they had someone waiting for them. Cal started off against Thomas College. They went to 6 games there and then dropped another 6-game series, this time to Terps Esports. Ohio State Gray got a sweep over Alaska to kick things off before falling in 7 to those pesky Drexel Dragons. But who has the advantage here? Who will step out in front early on and try and dictate the pace of the series? Another best of 7 on the way, and a crucial one at that for both sides.
It's Berkeley in the blue, and it's OSU Grey in the orange. Hot take again. Blue and orange overrated. Let them have their colours. But I'm sure we're going to see plenty of goals with flying colours in the next 20-30 minutes or so. And both teams, sometimes we see trepidation, sometimes we see boisterousness. Certainly seen the second of those. Big miss from Albino Bonobo. What a great name. Oh my goodness. Who misses that on the recovery? And speaking of a missed recovery, Civil Pangola practically walks it in. 1-0. 40 seconds in.
Fantastic start. Just kind of lob this one down. Take advantage of the fact that everybody's a little spaced out right now. Not really understanding exactly where they want to be. Trying to get those Game 1 jitters out of the way. It's very evident here. But at the same time, if you can thrive in the chaos, that'll work out really well to kick a series off.
I'm going to hazard a guess that is Bacon under the Albino Bonobo tag. That's going. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, no, it's not. Crossbar still not in. Well, speaking of Bacon, he's saved Berkeley's.
And that has been such a theme for UC Berkeley. In prior weeks of competition, we saw Bacon pulling off fantastic plays on both ends, but especially defensively. They like having that rock behind them, and it shows. Ohio State clearly have the task set out in front of them if they want to try and break down UC Berkeley's play style. It starts from the root of all problems, and Bacon has surely rooted a strong wall up here on defense.
It's one of Cal's, I was going to say best factors, I was going to say it's their clutch ability, but there was nothing clutch about that. Don Wad picks up on this loose ball, on this wall. It's a very simple shot into the center of the goal. Should really be saved, hits it dead center, tie game.
At the same time, you know, maybe you don't expect the player to take the shot from that angle. It's very well placed, you're right on it, but at the same time, I mean, could go to the corner, try to get a pass going. Danwad doesn't seem too keen to forego the shooting opportunities, however, as that one came down right through the middle. But a good clear from UC Berkeley. They transition quickly and try to settle in just a little bit here. Calm the nerves down. Don't make jumps that you don't feel pressured to make. And just overall play a clean game, but fast and dirty seem to be how Ohio State want to try and run this ball into the offensive zone.
Bacon, lovely control, lovely setup, unselfish from Bacon. Could have panicked, could have tried to shoot near post himself, but doesn't, and that's led to the 2-1 lead.
Great scramble as well from UC Berkeley. The demo sets things up, icing on the cake. Dot Swag to tap at home. Ohio State not really present on that particular sequence. The transition is going to be something I'm watching early on here for Ohio State. Get back into the zone, get back on your feet, or on your wheels rather, and make sure that UC Berkeley, who again continue to rain down demo after demo, don't rattle you too much.
Certainly a strong start then from both sides. Sensitive frailties here and there. Lovely launch from B-Boys. Backboard, well read by Doc Swag, who's going to follow up on this. Civil Pangolan ahead of the train, but a bit of miscommunication and mishandling of possession there means that although they still go forward, they're now going to go forward with one less, more buying time than anything. We've hit half time, we've passed it by. OSU Grey still 1 goal behind, but not for long! Civil Pangolan stretches, can't reach it. B-Boys
A great reach for the goal here. Sideball touch can be dangerous to leave the ball hanging in midfield. The B-Boys make sure it's not left hanging for much longer than that. Just past the halfway mark, all square. It truly feels like these teams are in lockstep with one another, but we all know that decisive it factor has to come through for a team to succeed.
Football marks them already. Who's going to make the least mistakes? That was a big one, but an even bigger crime committed by Bacon. How did you not score from there? Of course, in competitive Rocket League, you know, as a good save is put up from Sybil Pangolin, that the open nets are always the most difficult to score as we enter the final 2 minutes. That pressure's only going to ratchet up. Oh, so close to missing that one as well. CJ, he's the DJ on the dance floor.
Really trying their hardest to give the woodwork a bit more work to do, but CJ sends it far corner. The idea is there. Nobody from UC Berkeley can save that shot, despite how slow it enters the net. But Ohio State start to implement the high press here. Make UC Berkeley work for it. Don't give them those easy transitions. All of a sudden, it's starting to add up.
First go-ahead goal then for OSU Gray in this series. They've had to fight hard. They've had to fight from behind, but still Cal come forwards. Demo after the 100 boost pickup, going to be frustrating. Onwards, infield, unopposed. Shot on target and placed up high by Sybil Pangolin. So much waiting, no one following. Another clearance downfield, but only one to chase. Disappointing from Berkeley, time running out.
Difficult for both teams, feeling like they want to apply the pressure, but just their mere presence isn't enough to shake everybody off the ball. CJ with a good chance for a double, but it's picked away, and that's a tough spot to put yourself in. You're demoed now. Your teammates had to spend resources just to get the ball back from where it was set. Unfortunately, Ohio State find a solid enough clear for now. Good challenge from Danwad again. And here's this pressure implemented by Ohio State that they want to keep going, keep it consistent throughout the series. But another sidewall giveaway allows UC Berkeley to try and walk it back.
Another long shot playing a little fearful. Cal, Demo's not going to do much when the ball is still heading to your side of the pitch. And time running out that I mentioned earlier, well, half of that's already elapsed, heading up onto the backboard. No, oh, actually there is a follow-up. Bacon OG, and it's been a complete capitulation here in game number 1 for Cal.
Rewind it back to saying the team that makes the least amount of mistakes is going to come out on top, and it's starting to feel like that's where we're going. Again, still so early on, but at the same time, UC Berkeley need to find their identity on defense. It can't all be Albino Bonobo or Bacon, as we may know this player pulling all the strings. You need a solid, concerted effort, and right now, they've given themselves little to no chance of clawing this first game back.
Just haven't looked like scoring for a solid 2 minutes or so. We'll give credit where credit is due. OSU Gray has punished them at every step of the way. Good near post defense, that's a shot, and even though it's on target, CJ at that far post, ready to make the save. Filling out the administrative papers, metaphorically speaking, OSU Gray. Looking to put away maybe number 5. No, this one's going wide, but time has already beaten UC Berkeley on this occasion. 1-0 in the series. OSU Gray. Nicely done.
Nice little tap down to secure it, and some more shenanigans towards the back corner, but it's a nice, neat game, which feels a little uncharacteristic to say that was nice and neat. It started off very scrappy. There were plenty of transition plays that didn't have the defensive resistance you would expect out of either of these teams. But Ohio State, I mean, as a school, those Buckeyes know how to win in various levels of competition. Here, it feels like they just have another step up to get to. Meanwhile, UC Berkeley, you rightly pointed out, they didn't look like they were keen to scoring, which, you know, point blank and period, that's how you win the game. But beyond that, the pressure that they were able to generate did not feel like it was on the level of Ohio State. And it's a concerning sign, not necessarily the end of the world here in game 1, but still something to look out.
Just felt like a turtle retreating into its shell a little bit, because it was completely different from the beginning of the game where, okay, admittedly they were riding their luck a little bit, Bacon with an incredible save to deny OSU Gray a certain goal. But you would have thought that having scored not just 1, but the 2 goals, twice to go ahead, that they would have taken that confidence and run with it, but they didn't. And there's a difference in me, at least to me, Galgan, where there's parking the bus and there's playing conservatively. Parking the bus means solid defensive structure, and I didn't see that from UC Berkeley. I just saw the latter.
I have to agree with you. There's a whole level of difference between inviting your opponent in and knowing that you simply are stronger to play that, not lackadaisical, that's too harsh of a word, but
Yeah.
play that slower play style and being forced to do so. So I think that's a core issue for UC Berkeley moving into the rest of the series is how much can they really stand behind their mechanical ability, their team sense, their rotation, all of these foundational ideas to what makes a solid Rocket League team, and know that they can be better at any sequence and executing certain plays than Ohio State. They need to convince themselves as quickly as possible.
We can always talk about the fresh slate mentality going into any new game of Rocket League, but it does all add up. The last game didn't just not happen, and UC Berkeley will have to make adjustments on the fly. Certainly had a little bit of an elongated break in between game 1 and 2, so I wonder what coach has been saying in the ears of the player, if anything at all. Civil Pangolin, oh my, almost one of the goals of the entire season, but again, a close shave Galvin, so close and yet so far.
Still gonna watch themselves though. There were a couple of shot opportunities that went through once Civil Pangolin couldn't make it work, and that's why you quickly find the ball back here in the blue half. But UC Berkeley have done a decent job to at least delay it, although broken through now, and a quick shot on forces the double out of those Cal defenders. Civil Pangolin trying to run it back down Broadway, but CJ will catch and collect. Nice little pop here with low boost, using what little resources were in the tank to give Ohio State a bit more space, and they've really turned things around. As soon as Civil Pangolin got that chance, Ohio State have grabbed so much possession off of it.
Feels like there's some nerve damage in this team of UC Berkeley. It's not that they're not communicating. I think that's obvious that the calls are there, but as we can see, a little slow to react, and that slow reaction from a high press looking to turn around 180 and going to reverse has left them horribly exposed. OSU Gray take the lead.
You do start to wonder about the confidence level of players to a certain extent. Sometimes we see teams that are struggling to get things going rely on the one player who's feeling it a little bit more than the rest. As soon as they take their opportunity, maybe they miss, you follow up and you see what you can do. But that's where we get back into the idea of reactive play rather than proactive. You don't want to be sitting back waiting for whatever mistake your opponents might make on their own right. You got to be forcing it out of them, and UC Berkeley don't look that well equipped to be forcing anything out of Ohio State as they just continue to run them off.
Speedboys to CJ, backboard. Yeah, that one was strong control over these mid 100 boost pads. OSU Gray not letting UC Berkeley off the proverbial hook. Another shot incoming off that backboard. Doc Swag with a hardly convincing touch. Back central. It's Bacon closed down by B-Boys. Pangolin has to readjust mid-air. Just feels like everything's off for Cal right now. Save put up by Doc Swaggy. Back into the center by CJ. Hello, is there a pulse?
The big point of contention as well, you bring up the midfield boost battle. That comes packaged, at least to me, with sidewall control. Ohio State are able to walk it down either side of the field, get it centered up, and it really does feel like a pace difference at this point. Albino Bonobo taps things to start, but it's immediately brought back. Can't get to the shot fast enough, B-Boys, and a nice deflection to stop Danwad. But there's CJ. A response is always there from Ohio State, Gray, and it looks pristine at this point.
Everybody looking to the skies, and CJ again just a lift up, setting up for CJ in the first place from Bacon, and all three players are there, but none of the three players can get a piece of the ball. Incredibly disappointing opening half from UC Berkeley, barely had a sniff, as was the case in the latter half of game number 1. OSU Gray felt like that second goal was an inevitability. Finally, a sign of a shot from Bacon, but it's saved away by CJ. Good to see the OSU Gray still alert and aware enough not to have that complacency show up early doors.
Stop Swag with enough work to do, enough on his plate at the sidewall. Civil Pangolin takes over responsibilities. Albino Bonobo gives it away at the top of the box and is fortunate enough that that ball carried wide. Here's CJ to follow. B-Boys was already there, cheating up for the ball. Grabs it off the side, no immediate shot, but more time taken off of the clock, trying to keep this ball out of blue hands as much as possible. As another challenge now to Albino Bonobo, but it's Danwad who picks it clean.
all too easy. Pickpocket, and Dan Watts steps in ahead of that defender. Bacon, Albino Bobono, whatever you want to call him, if it is the same player at all even. I tell you what, this performance would make a lot more sense to me, Galgan, if it wasn't Bacon. If this was a substitute situation. I ain't got any information to confirm that it is a substitute, but at this point, I hope it is, because this is way off pace for what we expect from UC Berkeley.
I think that explains a lot more than it hurts against UC Berkeley, but it still doesn't feel great. The pace difference, very evident. I mean, demolitions, we don't have a formal count on that, but I would place very strong faith in the fact that Ohio State are leading that category and then some. As we continue on, I mean, this game, you can start to chalk it up again. We were in the same spot for game number 1. UC Berkeley have not given themselves the chances to win this game. Now we've said that 2 times in a row. How quickly will this series end if we continue to have this mentality about Cal just simply not being able to take a game back into their control?
It's a good question, and I feel like it's a question that's going to be answered very soon indeed. They won. It was a great recovery from OSU Gray. They then really got into their stride. They got better as game 1 went on. Game 2, there has been barely anything to get excited for if you are a UC Berkeley fan. Complete domination from OSU Gray. The clean sheet, 3 goals. Maybe looking for a 4th as well, just to rub salt in the wounds. Not going to happen. Hits the ground. Rethink required for Cal.
This really starts to make me think about the point that we brought up a bit earlier about wanting to invite your competition in. Because if I am playing the role of an outsider here, just merely looking at the series score, and I'm seeing Ohio State up 2 to start the series off, I'm saying, okay, we saw Cal last week go 6 games in both of their series. It makes sense that they go the distance. Maybe they take some time to figure things out. Maybe they let a couple of plays slip through their grasp, and you start to explain it away that way. That game 2 is much more difficult to explain away for UC Berkeley because that same lack of offensive passion showed itself tenfold from game 1 to game 2, and that's something you cannot carry forward. Ohio State Gray are being met with the least amount of resistance necessary to make this, not a complete blowout.
Again, I don't want to go as far as to say it's lazy. It's dozy. It's a sleepy performance. It feels like they've turned up and almost expected their opponents to play as lethargically as they are going to. And that's just not how it flies. And now OSU, like a shark in the water, smelled that blood there and they've gone for it. And that game 2 was as damning a performance, if you're a UC Berkeley fan, as I think we've seen from them in the 4 weeks now that we've been watching them. So again, I can maybe cut them a little bit of leeway if this isn't Bacon that we're talking about. But again, I have to reiterate, until we get official word, there is no other registered player under the Albino Bobono tag. So I have to assume that it is Bacon that we're talking about. And if so, what happened in the last week? Was it an argument? Was it a pocket money issue? Like, I need answers.
Speculation is one thing. At any point, UC Berkeley, like the rest of us, must continue on and try and find a way to stop Ohio State, because at this point, if they're pulling off passing plays like we just saw and happy to double commit at the top of the box, and it means they get another scoring chance, there's going to be struggles for pretty much any team that goes up against an Ohio State Gray that's playing as well on offense as this 3 are right now in front of me. Although I say that, it's a giveaway at the top of the box. Save there on the goal line from CJ is nice, but they've still got some work to do as this ball squeaks back out.
It's better though. That's what I wanted to see from UC Berkeley. And again, we can't lose sight of how well OSU Gray are playing. You're absolutely spot on the money there, Galgan. They are very much utilizing this proverbial break in the play, you could say, to really string together some beautiful passes and and stick themselves in good positions to pick up on any mistakes from the UC Berkeley defensive side. Bacon, again with an asterisk over that name, demo at the midfield line, and Docswag goes in for the challenge. Albino's a little bit slow to this one. B-Boy central, look for CJ. Double commit, still manages to get a shot on target. Good reactions here from Docswag. Tries to put it over or under Dunwad, doesn't really work, but the demo in the midfield opens it up. Bacon, Albino, good shot, good save and away.
Great sequence. It's still centralized, and Docswag can rotate back around. Has enough boost to secure the flip reset. Gets it past one. Challenge past the second. Somebody at the top and takes the shot, but it's CJ again defensively. Pulls out a hairline save. Civil Pangolin tries to throw it back in, but UC Berkeley may have lost their push.
Lack of faith in the offensive line. Not a good look for the rotation either. That was a golden opportunity. You've simply got to be quicker than that. Right down from the other end, OSU Gray still a big old threat. And they're looking to set up shop, but not for too long. Big challenge from B-Boys, breaks through the line, but there's Docswag to clean up. CJ, top of the box, hits it. Again, into no man's land, really. No team establishing a concrete lead. Oh, on the bar. Surely in no again, Docswag. He's been incredible on the back line so far. The difference between a 1-0 OSU Gray and a 0-0 as it stands now.
Still sending it back and forth, left, right, over and over again. Go Ohio State past one. Challenge for the second, and the run from B-Boy's a bit too late, but still gets it to go top corner. It rings off the post, and CJ taps it home. Finally, the endless onslaught results in a goal.
Had to happen eventually. Bacon bullied. Lovely throw in. That should have been on target, really. But see, again, this is the difference. CJ alive to the situation. Drives to that far post, almost expecting a ricochet. It's a simple tap in. We see that sort of endeavor for the UC Berkeley chance earlier on, and that's 1-0 to the team in blue. It's not, and it doesn't look close still. Dunwad from the back, he's demoed, but that's a decent clearance right on the other side of the pitch. Mike, if that had been in Galgan, my mouth would have been aghast.
Bit more pace on it. We're telling a much different story. There have been chances for UC Berkeley, but they still find themselves against this fantastic transitional pace of play from Ohio State. They consistently find these kinds of shots. Oh, the sequence falls short at the end. You can see that formulating the tap home, not there. Counter non-existent for UC Berkeley. They've got 90 seconds to go. That had to be one of their better chances after everything was thrown at one quick shot. Now they finally get the ball to go here to Ohio State's back half, but Dunwad immediately pulls it clear.
Challenge game still a little bit murky for UC Berkeley. Unfortunately, it's a situation of going in head first and then banging that head against a brick wall. It seems OSU Gray just too strong right now, but it's still a recoverable game. With 60 seconds left on the clock, that one goal lead is precarious at best. OSU Gray putting on their defensive construction hat, but what a brilliant ball! Unfortunate the dunk doesn't fall away of Albino / Bacon. There they are again, looking to chase this. Dunwad and him miss through the Malagos. Docswag looking to set up now. B-Boys backboard. Great read.
If ever there was a must-win game in a series that did not result in a winner either way, it has to be this one for UC Berkeley. They've got 30 seconds. Docswag on the sidewall, dispossessed by CJ, who will have a challenge against Civil Pangolin, who's waiting on the back wall. Tried to play for the save, and it was the right call, but it's slower to clear away. Handed right back, shot underneath. Civil Pangolin with another save. Docswag, no boost, no help. Another one to the near post. Civil Pangolin again takes it aside. They've pulled miracles off here on defense, and Albino Bonobo, no block, open net. They threw everything but the kitchen sink, and it came right back.
They really had to go for it, though. This might look egregious from an opposition perspective, because it was. But the Hail Mary required, they put full faith in Bonobo to go and win that challenge as soon as they did it. That's the end of the game. No chance, no hope. Better efforts, but still no joy. It's a 3-0 game-winning streak here for OSU Gray. One away from 25 points at least.
And you try your best, but you don't succeed. That's what that game 3 feels like to me.
Yes.
It's sad. It truly is. And I speak in that sad tone as if this series is over. It's not. You know, best of 7 reverse sweeps are possible. Whether or not it's possible here, yet to be seen. But I think you and I can both take away that this, even, I mean, considering game one, the fact that that ends, 4-2, I think this third game, despite not seeing UC Berkeley score, and they have yet to shake that off, by the way, it's been over 10 minutes now without a goal from the boys in blue. At the same time, I have faith in them to get it done because we've seen the signs, we've seen the pieces in the general area just not quite fit together at this stage. And if that, defensive scramble of a sequence with miraculous saves happens 30 seconds earlier, then maybe we get 1 or 2 shots for UC Berkeley to try and tie things up at the end. But they just threw everything they could at trying to get that ball clear. It is a true sign of desperation. Desperate times call for desperate measures, but no time more desperate than right now with 4 match points against them.
Well, if they do end up losing in a sweep fashion, Cal, they're going to be joined in good company. Bowling Green State losing 4-0 to the University of New Haven. The Chargers moving on into the semi-final. Sorry, the semi-finals then. Wait, yes, no, quarterfinals. There we go. My goodness, it's almost as if I don't know how brackets work. I do know how series work, however, and if OSU Grey do find the W in this one, it means that they're going to be joining New Haven in that particular round. I'm not entirely sure who their opponents will be. The bracket doesn't reveal all as of yet. But UC Berkeley, it is now or never, and they've got to try and find a way to, first of all, avoid these incredible quality demos that OSU Grey are putting down on the field, Galvin. Case in point, wonderful aggressive demo at the midfield, opens up that back line beautifully. B-Boys puts it away. Not the start that Cal were looking for.
At the same time, I'm running out of fingers to count the number of plays off the sidewall from Ohio State that have resulted in a strong scoring chance. Like, obviously, there's very few things that UC Berkeley could do in that sequence to stop that particular goal that we just saw. But every single time someone's coming down the sidewall, they're trying to pass to someone who's already cheating up in the midfield. They're taking their own shot. So many things that Ohio State have been able to pull off from those side angles where you teach teams fundamentally in many sports, but Rocket League as well, that the center is where you want to be taking your shots from. Although here, in this particular series, if you can send an odd angle one in and it's on target well enough for Ohio State, they have found very strong amounts of success with that. You can't fix what isn't broken.
The planning phase, the setup phase, meticulous by OSU Grey. So meticulous, you might mistake it for a bank heist, but I tell you what, Galgan, they're not the robbers, but the bank themselves, and they are not giving anything away for free today. Dunwad, again, too strong in this 50 challenge, doubles the lead.
I talked about parking a bus earlier. That is straight up throwing an entire bus at your opponent with Herculean strength. That is sitting yourself at the middle of the field saying, I'm him, and barreling through. Some level of mentality for UC Berkeley is just being broken down and down. The further they go without a goal, they get these chances lined up, but they can't jump through.
Again, their follow-up game is so poor, UC Berkeley, in this series, that you've got to be on that to follow up, because you have to expect that the keeper's going to make the initial save. What do you do thereafter? Not even one step ahead, they're just one step behind. Free demo for Dunwad. CJ goes up against Doc Swag. Fair play. Wins that challenge. Gives them a bit of breathing room. B-Boys back to the back door, but completely uncontested. Allowed to transition back out to the halfway line for free. Good rotation round here for Bacon. Pangolan lifts it up, but what's Bacon going to do now? No boost out to play, and it goes over the top of him.
It was one of the more free opportunities for UC Berkeley as well, and now they're immediately brought back. They've got to watch the few moments that Ohio State do throw the ball up the sidewall and don't have the follow. They're just chasing, trying to make something happen. But because Ohio State is winning the pace battle so handily, UC Berkeley don't react fast enough, and you get chances like this where everybody's flying every which way. Doc Swag takes it from the crossbar to delay the follow-up shot that B-Boys wanted to take, but there's the center pass, and it's all starting to fall apart.
That was desperation with a capital D from Civil Pangolan. Just throws themselves, and B-Boys has them eating out the palm of their hand. Speaking of, serves up a mighty meal to CJ, who gobbles up that opportunity. It's 3-0. Sweep likelier by the second.
multiple goals every single game for Ohio State, coming up on over 13 minutes of scoreless play for UC Berkeley. Time and time again, they get the faintest whiff at the net, and they are not willing to make that final jump, that final stretch. This is one of the most free opportunities all series long. It's a passing play, 1-2-1, and Civil Pangolin recovers a shaky sequence to get UC Berkeley on.
You know, Civil Pangolin could have just shot that at the net and scored, but okay, I guess we're going to go the long way around. If that doesn't speak volumes of where UC Berkeley are at in their headspace, I don't know what is, because they made a meal out of that almost. I'm glad that they scored. I'm glad that they've ended the drought, but there's a long, long way to go from here, Gowser, before we can speak about equalizing territory.
Series is still done if they can't get it done in under 2 minutes. Albino Bonobo attempting another center here on the near post. Civil Pangolin goes midfield, and Doc Swag's waiting in the right spot, but Civil Pangolin takes away the double. You have to give credit. You would think Ohio State would save it away on their own right, but at any rate, they take it back here. Nice challenge from Civil Pangolin early. You can tell the early defensive jumps are something that Pangolin want to be doing here, but at the same time, how much risk are you willing to throw into the hat of chance here before you really have to throw everything else along with it, as now in transition off the post, and it's misread.
Completely misread. When you see that you're 2v1, you've got to go for where they're passing the ball to, because it's clear as day that they're not going to go for the shot. Oh, Doc Swag needed some specs on, but even with the glass half full, you got to say that UC Berkeley haven't really, or rather they have deserved what has come their way pretty much since the second half of game number 1. Just 60 seconds left. That's 1 goal per 20 seconds. And they still can't find a way through here.
The challenge up high, seconds ticking away now to 50. Pass down to Civil Pangolin, picked off by CJ. Rotation from Denwad, misses, and somehow B-Boys taps it home. I'm starting to think that nothing can go the way of UC Berkeley, even in the chances where they get the ball halfway in the net. The force of Ohio State Gray that they are bringing to this field, to this series, and to this weekend of play feels a little too strong.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's the tattered bow on top of the very, very overdone cake that's just come fresh out the oven and straight into the garbage bin. UC Berkeley, again, whether they were down one of their regular players or not, you expect a certain level from Rally Cry Collegiate Series players, especially in the round of 16. This weren't its sheep, and OSU Gray have locked in 15 more points than they've already earned today. They find themselves in the quarterfinals with aplomb.
Fantastic showing for Ohio State Gray here. 4-0 result. That is a high impact series that we were talking about before. Very important for both of these teams who are running in similar circles to separate themselves from the field. And Ohio State Gray, the job's not done. They'll continue on. We can confirm that they will be going up against the #1 seed in this weekend's play, which happens to be Southern Miss Coca-Cola. So that series is coming up for them shortly. But as far as this one is concerned, Cal came into this with a 5-point lead. That lead is gone. They'll sit on 25 permanently and see how low it takes them. There's a little bit of a cushion beneath them. And again, we'll talk long-term standings once the table finalizes a bit more. But at the end of the day, this is a very confident result for Ohio State Gray. If they continue this level of play into the rest of this tournament, into the playoffs, you'll start to think about what kind of names they could take, because I really, really like what I saw from their offense.
I agree, and actually that demo game which I referenced earlier, I think that was a real difference maker between the two teams. The quality of demos in that midfield and final third for OSU Gray were fantastic. On the opposite side, I don't think I can count one time where UC Berkeley even got a successful bump, nor did they really endeavor to go for those sorts of plays. It all ended up in a neat little sad package, unfortunately, for UC Berkeley. But as you say, they are into the playoffs, and they now got a week to figure out those problems. But thankfully for us, not too much of a break before our next set of action. We're heading into the quarterfinals. We hope to see you there after this. And when we do, more action on the way. Oh, no. Oh, replays. Oh, my goodness, replays. I forgot about the replays, everyone. I apologize.
Yeah, we've got to check out some of the action that happened here. And just kind of reminisce in what this series was. I truly think, I mean, I don't know, as much as we can say this didn't feel like the caliber of play that Cal needed to show up to this weekend with, that's understandable, and they're surely going to feel hard done by it. But at the same time, so much of the pressure from Ohio State, Ray, you could tell that it was just bearing down, not just on Cal, but on anybody who would be on the other side of it, on the receiving end. The control on the sidewalls, the passing lanes they already had set up before the ball had crossed the midfield line, that level of offensive efficiency is something that you really desire from a top team.
I agree. And to be fair, that efficiency only got greater as the series went on as well. And I think that plays into the declining confidence of UC Berkeley, where they're leaving more open spaces, they're going for more desperate plays, nothing seems to be going for them. But when you're down on your luck, sometimes you got to make it yourself. And, you know, this really, you know, goes into the deep and dark waters of the mental game of Rocket League, which can be rough at best, debatable at worst. Some players like to trash talk, some players just like to keep quiet. And quiet really is the best way that I can describe this UC Berkeley performance. Unfortunately, they weren't loud in many respects. Some fantastic individual performances. But sadly, all of those individual performances were on the defensive side of things, Galgan. And when it's that one player turning up and no one else, you know, the talent's going to run out eventually.
Yeah, I think what we're looking at here tells you everything you need to know. More saves than shots taken for UC Berkeley, and on the contrast, 48 shots on target. You look at that and you go 13 for 48. That's not really that amazing, but you realize the impact that has on UC Berkeley. They have to play so much defense that they're simply not allowed to get anything going on their end, and that is the takeaway point here. UC Berkeley, they just can't get the engines ignited in time. It's a sweep. Ohio State Gray, they advance. Yes, a tough test against Southern Miss Coca-Cola coming up here in the quarterfinals of this bracket, but at the end of the day, they've proven themselves. We already know that they're in the top 16. The rest is just for brownie points.
Such a lovely bit of analysis by you, but now I'm feeling a bit of deja vu. Apparently, I'm going to be sending it to a break, and I think that's what's going to be happening. And I feel like on the other side of that break, we might just have a quarterfinal. Let's find out together, shall we?
We get how uncertain the future is. We've come of age in a complex world, face to face with problems we didn't create. So what's gonna happen next? We are. Because our future is the future. The life we have chosen has prepared us for this. So we're going to build bridges and hospitals in a day. We're gonna save families from disasters and feed those left in the cold. We're going to do all this and more because we have an appointment with destiny. We invite you to join us. The next greatest generation is now.